Lighthouses have always had a kind of romantic allure because of their association with hope and safety. But some have a dark side as well. Many have ghost stories and other legends that come from this side. St. Simon's Island Lighthouse in Georgia has been associated with paranormal activity for some time. One of the most famous stories is that the ghost of a lightkeeper named Osborne haunts the building. He was murdered in a dispute over money in 1876. His killer was acquitted of the crime, causing Osborne to wander about, still seeking justice. People have mentioned hearing footsteps on the stairs, strange voices coming from empty rooms, things moving around without anyone touching them, and even the lighthouse's horn sounding by itself. There have been reports of other apparitions as well as mysterious cold spots that sometimes accompany hauntings. These hauntings include a young girl that wanders around the grounds some nights and a group of drowned sailors. According to the legend, the shipwrecked sailors were rescued by the lighthouse keeper. But, the next morning, he found them dead and stacked in a pile with their eyes wide open in terror. A company offers ghost tours of the area on a trolley. Some people on those tours have reported sightings. I know I saw something strange when I went on this tour some years ago. Of course, it's easy to dismiss these sightings since people tend to believe something they've prepared themselves to believe. To find out more about the St. Simon's ghost tours, go to lighthousetrolley.com. Many aspects of this haunting are dismissed as simply creaking of an old building and reflections from the built-up area where the lighthouse is located. But, are they? I'll let you go visit and decide for yourself. Just up the coast from St. Simon's Island is Sapelo Island, the location of another haunted lighthouse. Built in 1820, it's the second oldest brick lighthouse in the U.S. One interesting incident happened in 1920 when the lighthouse keeper discovered the bodies of 3 men after he noticed buzzards hovering in the area. Over the decades, people have reported seeing apparitions of these men as well as that of a woman in a white dress. Others have mentioned the typical haunting signs in the lighthouse, such as cold spots and strange footsteps. If you want to visit Sapelo, I highly recommend it not only for the lighthouse itself but also to enjoy the natural and cultural attractions, such as the Reynolds Mansion, the Estuarine Reserve and the Hog Hammock Gullah Geechee community. Maybe you'll witness something paranormal. Even if you don't, it's a great adventure off the typical tourist path. Further up the coast, near Savannah, is Tybee Island, which also has a reputed haunted lighthouse. Some have claimed that the grounds are haunted by the ghost of a young woman who was murdered by her husband. She is said to appear from time to time wandering around in a white dress. Another reported ghost is that of a child who will warn visitors not to climb the stairs. Still another is a man in a suit and hat who is seen in the upstairs area. As with other hauntings, people have reported odd sounds and cold spots. One of the more unusual sounds is that of someone whistling a tune. A bit more frightening are the screams that are sometimes heard. Are they just the wind or something else? Traveling on up the road to near Wilmington, North Carolina, there's the Fort Fisher Lighthouse. While this lighthouse is no longer standing, the fort and park is, and, some say, the ghosts are still there too. The area is notable because it was the scene of an intense U.S. Civil War battle in 1865 where many soldiers perished. As is the case with many other Civil War sites in the South, it became a hotbed of paranormal activity afterwards. Visitors to the area have reported hearing the sound of gunfire and other sounds of battle. Others have mentioned seeing apparitions of Confederate soldiers moving about, as though preparing for battle. In 1998, a team of paranormal investigators visited the area and conducted tests. Along with the typical reports of gunfire, seeing apparitions and feeling cold spots, they also claimed to have snapped a photo of a ghost. They believed it to be of the ghost of a Confederate soldier. However, some people believe that the photo is simply a trick of the light and wanting to see something in the shape. Moving on up the North Carolina coast, the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is a historic lighthouse that was built in 1803 and is the tallest brick lighthouse in North America. It is also home to some of the stranger lighthouse hauntings. People have mentioned seeing a ghost cat living in the lighthouse. The large black and white ghostly feline will rub up against people and disappear. Supposedly, it's a former lighthouse keeper's cat who decided to stay with the building when the keeper moved away. The area is also the scene of one of the most mysterious maritime incidents in history, the 1921 wreck of the Carroll A. Deering. The schooner ran aground near the lighthouse with no sign of life on board. However, food was laid out for a meal in the ship's galley. Some people have claimed to see the ghostly crew wandering around the lighthouse area, while others say they've heard their voices crying out for help. Finally, there's the case of Bob. Bob is a mysterious old man who wears a yellow raincoat and appears either in the lighthouse or on the beach. He is said to be friendly and helpful. However, his identity or origin are unclear. Some believe Bob is a former lighthouse keeper who died on duty and decided to stay on duty. Others conjecture that the apparition is a sailor who drowned near the lighthouse and whose body was never recovered. Some even suggest he was a spy or a smuggler who used the lighthouse as a base of operations. If you're planning a trip to the southern U.S. Atlantic coast this summer, I recommend you take in the interesting lighthouses along the way. Who knows, you might even see a ghost.